watch Carla and learn all of these signs while I'm walking.
I'll teach you while we're after.
So, if I haven't met you, I'm Tracy, and I'm the captain of probably the best team ever, called Team Goodisness. It's an extraordinary group of women from all over the world, and 2 men, although there are probably more ladies than we are. And Phyllis and Karen came to me about doing a fundraiser in this awesome facility, or I don't want to call it a facility, this down home goodness, place of goodness. And Judy the Beauty was really kind enough to offer it up. So I know she's not here, and then her mother was passed, and so we'll just send her some good loving energy. But I just want to ask on your behalf I want to thank you first, and also ask you if you could spread the news that Phyllis has a goal of $3,000 before the ride on June 1st. She has agreed and made a big commitment to be a roadie, which would help us with basically our ride is 545 miles from San Francisco to Los Angeles. And we're like a moving city down the coast. And Phyllis will be a part of our medical team and helping and make sure that all the riders and everyone who's working on this are well taken care of. And then we have Karen, who is riding. Yes, there. Bada bing, bada boom. Good timing. Karen, who's riding 545 miles alongside me and a bunch of us goobers who made the silly and fabulous commitment to raise money. I just want to say, like last year, I had the pleasure of raising $107,000 for AIDS LifeCycle, and it was with the help of a lot of my teammates who were supporters and donors. And this year, I decided that I went to a party like this, and they were celebrating. It was also educational, and they talked about the pandemic, and they laid it out in such a clear way. I got this huge aha moment right in the center of my heart, and it was that we really can end this pandemic. It doesn't have to exist for years and years and years more. And how do we do that? We spread it by awareness. We do crazy, outrageous, fun, stupid, silly, embarrassing things to just bring attention to people so that they make a change, so that money is raised. All the money here is going to go to the LA Gay and Lesbian Center in Los Angeles. Some people immediately think, well, why not San Diego? Why not North Carolina? Why not Germany? You know, all these people who are on the team are from all over the place. The first thing I want to ask is, does it matter if we save a life in Los Angeles, or save a life in San Diego, or save a life in North Carolina, or Uganda, or Germany? Really? First, because we're all human beings. And second, we're connected. And I have literally seen people who have, like one fellow, he came from Mexico, he landed in the US, he didn't have a visa, he contracted HIV in Los Angeles, and before they could deport him, he got a chance to go to the center and he got help. He got a medication. The medication that the center provides, because he got that help so soon, his virus was virtually undetectable. He got help in housing. He was put back to work, bit by bit, through the work that the center does. Then got to help other people. So instead of going back to Mexico and spreading this disease, the LA Gay and Lesbian Center stopped one person and changed their life. And that makes a difference internationally. If you think about how much we travel and how much we connect with different people, one simple conversation, like, what'd you do last night? Oh, well, I went to an AIDS LifeCycle fundraiser. AIDS LifeCycle, isn't AIDS like that thing of the 80s? No, it's actually still happening. 25,000 client visits happen every month at the LA Gay and Lesbian Center. That's 25,000 visits. People walking into that center saying, please help me. whether it's someone who needs to get sober to stop behaving in a certain way, whether it's acting out sexually or acting out with drugs. I stand for giving people a second chance at life because a lot of people just don't know. They just absolutely don't know how to behave in a way that is kind to the body. And the LA Gay and Lesbian Center gives these people another chance to turn their life around. They have immediate counseling as soon as someone is diagnosed. They can take them right down the hall and give them a counselor so that they can start to process this whole thing. Just because of AIDS LifeCycle and the money that we raised in the last 2 years, they've expanded and they've hired 4 new doctors, 40 new staff members, and all the money that's raised tonight is immediately going to be put to use tomorrow. That's pretty amazing. The need is actually so great still today. This is not the 80s. It's 2014. Still today, that need is so great that that money will immediately go into the expansions because so many people need that care. Okay, so back to, we can end this pandemic. We can end this pandemic by talking about where you were tonight. Get tested. I got tested. I'm in a monogamous relationship, but I still got tested last year to make sure that that's clear. Talk about it. Talk about your safety and your preferences. To stop carrying that shame, and also talk about the money you spent. Spend money. Put money into this. Give money toward Phyllis's ride. Give money towards Karen's ride. Where did Karen go? It's hiding. The more you share your knowledge and your funds toward helping this cause, you'll actually make a difference. I feel like there's so many other things, but I don't want to sit here and preach and preach and preach. I just wanted to give you a couple of points. Did I miss anything that might?
I think those are pretty good. I think the only thing is, especially like in San Diego, a lot of the question is why isn't the money being directed right to San Diego? But the center in LA, the clinic, is a model for centers around the world, basically. And we're also at the forefront of research for PEP and PrEP and medications and like the research and development department. Basically, that affects the entire globe. So that's definitely, your funds are going to help on a national level and an international level, not just Los Angeles.
Yeah, they have one of the first control groups, and so in the 80s, the LA Gay and Lesbian Center was there, and so they actually can see what's working medically and what isn't. And because of that, that research is shared globally. And the LA Gay and Lesbian Center also goes to bat for funding for all people all over the United States to get the backing that the government doesn't provide. So, and then AIDS LifeCycle is the major funding source for the center and these particular research development. And like Kaylin said, the testing. They've got rapid HIV tests now where you can find out in 20 minutes, and they're developing one where you can find out in 1 minute. So imagine like how many more people you could just get it done, find out, get tested, and immediately get help if you have a positive status. Because the sooner you get help, the sooner you can become virtually undetectable, which means you can live a long, long, healthy life full of fitness and fun. What else? Anything? Does anybody have questions? Yeah.
How soon after infection do those rapid tests work?
The rapid test basically lets them know.
But how soon after infection?
6 weeks currently.
So you have to incubate 6 weeks?
Yeah, but what they're testing right now at the center is something that you can get tested. Like if you have some sort of unsafe behavior today, they're working right now, they're in the testing phases of a test that you can immediately go and have a rapid test. So it's currently 6 weeks, and it's been that way pretty much since they developed the current rapid test. But we're in testing right now for one that is an actual immediate test. Yeah, that's being tested at the center.
Morning after.
Yeah, basically.
Wow. And what about the false positives? What's this, how reliable are they in a sense?
Well, for the 6-week one,
Yeah, and the new ones.
the new one, I'm not sure yet because it's still in the testing stages. The 6-week test is pretty accurate, I believe. I don't know the exact statistics, honestly, but it's fairly accurate. And with that, they immediately get them into care, and then there's follow-up testing. Yeah.
The tests, how available are they? And do you have to go to a clinic? You have to get a doctor to do it? You have to, how is that?
I know that they were working on the test at home, but I think it's recommended that you actually
Go to the doctor and ask.
because it's all inclusive. It's a holistic experience to go to the LA Gay and Lesbian Center. By the way, there are tours of the center for free that you can go and see the work that they're doing yourself. Their pharmacy, the counseling center, they have specific lesbian health care, transsexual health care. They're really on the forefront of covering all the bases in LGBTQ RSTUV community.
I haven't been there in like 30 years. It was like, not very big yet.
XYZ.
Yeah.
Okay, what about people who are straight people? Okay, how do you let them know that it's everybody? Okay, like you said, it's a community. So.
You mean, how do you let them know that you're raising money for the LA Gay and Lesbian Center?
Right, like.
They don't turn anybody away. No one is turned away.
Right, so
It just happens to be a place, though, that LGBTQ people actually have their language spoken.
Right.
That partners is mentioned. There's certain language that's left out of the mainstream medical fields, and people who are transsexual aren't being truly given the care they need if they're not spoken to in a language that they understand. So that is the reason why we need a LGBT center, but it does not discriminate anybody. It is for anybody who shows up, and there are heterosexual people that go to the center. Granted, it's less, probably because of the stigma. The more we talk about it, the more we just are out there sharing and having it be so simple. It's just simple conversation and it's casual. The more we'll break down that stigma that AIDS is a gay man's disease or someone who is sexually promiscuous deserves it. We don't. Then there's another conversation. Well, why is someone sexually promiscuous? Let's look at that. Why are we so afraid to talk about sex and what that causes? Somebody might be afraid, somebody might be really lonely, somebody might be desperate. Why are they desperate? Oh, well, because of this and that, because of their childhood. Why did that happen? Oh, because they're just like everybody else. They had a creepy experience, they caught a wave of behavior, and that became the way they lived. So then they had somebody else wake them up, whether it's HIV or drug addiction. And then they shifted, and that's what we're here for. That's what this conversation is. This is like the old school sit around the fire and I don't know, the Native American way. Talk about it. Have a conversation. What does that mean? What does that really, really mean? Any other thoughts? Questions? Money?
Been on silent auction stuff.
Yeah, if you want to sit outside the auction, or if you just want to be an angel. Tonight, if there is someone who could give and give Karen the gift of getting to her $5,000 goal, and Phyllis Hill is looking to reach her $3,000 goal. I'll tell you just a little bit about Team Good Isness. We're a global team. We have about almost 80 of us from all over the world, literally, from France, Australia, Germany, Russia, Netherlands, Switzerland, Sweden, UK, Canada, all of the United States, San Diego, Australia, Italy, yeah, Spain. And these women are in touch with all of the other women and two fellas, and they Skype and they share ideas about fundraisers. So this is happening here, and then another one's happening in Italy, and one is happening in Spain, and they're all raising money to go to the LGBT Center here in California. That's global. That, like, we can literally stop the pandemic. It may take time, but imagine, like, if this kept happening and it kept multiplying and all of you got on a bicycle next year and all of you actually came out and roadied and had that amazing adventurous experience of camping out and helping each other and calling out glass and calling out left turn and moving through the city and being seen and talking about it with your friends who are all over the world. Everybody would be getting tested, everybody would be talking about it. Everybody would fund this, and it would stop. It would. It really would. So, I will ask, is there anyone here who could give $500 toward Phyllis and Karen's fundraising efforts? Think about it. How about $100?
I got $100.
You will, Cindy? Woo! Thank you!
For each of them.
That is amazing! I know. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Like a hurricane.
Thank you.
So if $10 buys 146 condoms, 200 buys how much? That's zero. So you count me. I was never good at math under pressure.
Some zeros on that.
Almost 30,000.
We just got 30,000 condoms.
Yes! Yeah. Is there an ATM somewhere?
Do we have anyone who wants to match Cindy's offer? Anyone have it? And that's okay. And I know I'm putting a lot of pressure on you by asking right here and now, but if you don't ask, it won't happen. So how about this? I'll ask you, does anybody have $50 that they'd like to give toward Karen and Phyllis's fundraising?
One of my friends already did, and she's over in the corner, so.
Yay!
Earlier.
Would you be willing to post a picture tonight and say tell everybody, your friends, everybody what you did, and ask them if they could give $5, $10, $15, $20, $2,500. Maybe you know someone who could give $5,000 or what have you. And offer it up to these women or to any team member.
If I had any friends with 5,000, I'd be borrowing 2,000.
Exactly, and ask your companies to match your donation.
So if we're out doing that, how do we tell them, well, here's where you go, so?
That is a great question. We have cards, and Karen, do you have your fundraising card?
Yeah, it's somewhere.
So the best way is to go to, it's tofighthehiv.org, and it's /go/team for business. I can write it down for you.
I have
That would be a lot easier. Okay. But I would ask if you guys would post that link and say, you know,
Well, that's what I was
post
saying.
Phyllis's, or post Karen's, and say, hey, this is what's going on, and would you be willing to, I don't know, buy 146 condoms, or would you be willing, well, however it works for you, and I'll let Karen give you some ideas. There's all kinds of fun numbers that you can play with. Our team goal is 300,000 as a whole. And we are well on our way to 200,000 right now, which is pretty amazing. So we've already bought a doctor for a year, and that's pretty incredible. We provided a doctor this year, our team. the more we go, the more we'll provide. So, what would you like to see? Anybody?
Well, I did have one more question. I'm doing a picnic hike for the employees and their families at work this weekend, and we've
Yeah.
got like 125 people that signed up. And if you had like some brochures that I could take, or the cards or something like that to set out, because everything that I also do the wellness program at our work. And the fitness program. So don't say a word, because I always tell everybody, don't say anything. Shut up.
You want to hear anything from me?
I am a teacher. I teach you what to do. Don't look. I've been there, okay? I know you can do it. Right?
Do as I say.
Do as I say. But so they were having these hikes, and they would go up like 10 people up a hill, a dirty, dusty hill and everything. And I just took over doing it a few months ago, and they said, well, we want to do another hike. And I said, okay, but I'm not doing that dirty, dusty, nasty hill up there with, all the snakes and everything. I said, we're going to have it at a park with a lake, with family and friends. And it's turned into this whole health fair and everything else. So I would love to put some of this literature out, because that's the whole reason that I picked this. I've been looking for something to do, not just local, the stuff I do at work and the local things, but something that really makes a difference. And of course, I have 3 friends that have AIDS, one with AIDS and 2 with HIV. And so I've always given to that. I do the AIDS walks, things like that. But I wanted to get a little more involved myself physically and personally. So I'm just so excited about this. I'm ready to go right now.
We'll totally give you
I'm going to go ride now. I feel like I should.
You've got Kaylin's
I've got
contact,
Kaylin's card.
and you can email me too. And if you wanted, you could join in and become a virtual cyclist this year and raise money
I'm ready.
and be a part of our team.
What did I do?
We have
right here.
we have over 32, 35. I was going to say 35.
You get one.
Thank you. 35 virtual cyclists. And what that means is you actually commit to raising $3,000 for AIDS LifeCycle. You aim for it with all your best intentions. And I have my team members doing challenging things. Like I have one team member I recommended her do silly, embarrassing things for donations. Or I had one team member who rode on her spin bicycle at home and asked for money to go in the meter to keep her going every hour. And I think she ended up like 20 some hours or what have you. And so everybody's like doing these physical challenges to get themselves fit, reach out, talk about AIDS, and talk about the fact that there is a way to live a nice long life even though you are HIV positive, and raise money to help people who need the medication and can't afford it. So there's other ways to do this besides actually getting on your bicycle and riding, or going out and camping out and being a roadie. You can be a virtual cyclist. And,
We have I'm also on a team for American Cancer Society.
yeah.
And we'll do the 24-hour, relays and things like that. Well, what our team does is just taking a water bottle, one of the regular, drink bottles. If you fill it with dimes, it's $100. So every year, everybody just takes their water bottle and they just keep throwing. Then when we do the walk, it's once a year. Everybody brings their water bottles, and you'd be surprised how much money.
How much
Oh,
money?
I'm copying that.
That's great.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Give them to your family, your friends, and even if they don't fill it up.
I love that.
No, I like that. I can work that.
You just give people water bottles, have them fill
Because
it
what
up
do
throughout
people
their
do with
week.
dimes anyways?
Right.
I like it. Thank you.
Yeah,
You're
that's
welcome.
a great idea.
Yeah. But
So
that's an
maybe I'll
easy
be-
way to make some money, and it doesn't hurt anybody to do it.
I'm good
really
with water
doesn't.
bottles.
There's just nothing like
I
it.
think I can get ones with mustaches on.
There you go. Yeah. Well, our team's called the Care Bears, so we put Care Bears on ours.
Awesome.
I like it.
Any questions about the ride itself? Anybody interested in possibly taking on the ride next year?
Absolutely.
Yes. Woo!
I gotta use a few more though.
It's all good. It's all
Gotta
good.
use a few more.
abilities. And we are, thank you so much. Our pleasure. Have a good night. We're a safe ride. We actually really pride ourselves, and that is a core value of our of AIDS LifeCycle, is that we train everyone in the safest way possible. We call out for each other out loud, and any hazards, and we stop at all stoplights, and we behave just like a moving vehicle, like a car. So I learned how to clip in and out of a bicycle last year. I didn't even know how to do that myself. I wasn't a cyclist. And now, 70 miles is like, what else? Because of AIDS LifeCycle. So it's like you get so much back. I feel so empowered as a woman knowing how to change my own damn tire. And I know if the poop hits the fan, then I can ride the Santa Barbara on my bicycle if I have to. I don't know, there's something really, really like down home empowering to know that I can do that as a human being. And I ride
Get
it.
a little big for backpack. Yeah.
What's that, Carrie?
Bunkers get a little big for a backpack though.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at those little trolleys for my dog, Bunkers, to see if like maybe I could ride with her behind me. 70 miles might be a little harder that way, but that would be a new thing. Yeah.
She could do it with Bonker Stay. Bonker would be like, I see something cool. Come on.
Yeah. Go. Well, thank you so much, and I'm just going to let you guys enjoy each other's company. Thanks for listening to me, and feel free to ask questions of Kaylin. Thanks for being here. She's part of the staff of AIDS LifeCycle, and is my right-hand woman. And thanks to all the teammates for showing up. Deborah and Dana. Awesome. Tracy. Yeah. Yeah, it's all good. Thank you so much. You guys enjoy each other. Good night.